I was a little surprised when I got the call, to be completely honest. But friendship stick is in your head, and I can remember, this isn't even part of my speech, so don't start the clock yet. I can remember the first time I met Joe, and we were literally just joking about it, and this is the craziness of this sport and this community and friendship. Emily, I have known you forever. I knew you when you went to Hawaii, right out of high school, because your dad said, look, this is my daughter, look at my daughter, look at my daughter. And then every time Joe put something on Facebook, and we never see each other, you know, we're in two completely different divisions. And I feel like I know you, and through Joe's mentorship and leadership, and it's kind of fun to sit next to you and actually see you in person. So it's nice to meet you. Okay, now start the clock. Okay. First off, and I had to write this, I wrote this so many times in my head because of all the people that have been around, and Rob Wilcox, who can't be here today, he's competing in Kenosha, and he told me, he goes, well, I kept it under a good 3,200 meter time, so you're in Oregon now, you should keep it under a good 3,000 times. So when I timed this out, I am technically under 8 minutes, so I should be okay. That was before I added some time to talk about Emily, who I've never met before. First off, I really want to thank Chuck. As the Hall of Fame coordinator, he just goes above and beyond. The Track and Field Coaches Association, for what I consider this to be the highest honor in our sport. I've sat with Chuck so many times over the years working through the Hall of Fame notebook, and even though it's all recorded and it's all written down, for every applicant and honoree, he knows them all by heart. He knows every piece of their career. The dedication and time that goes into it can only be considered a labor of love for Chuck. With all my love and respect, brother, thank you for all that you do for our association and our coaches and recognition, which is so important. I remember attending my first convention. It was the one I actually flew to Spokane to go to my first convention and meeting Tuck and Chuck, and it was on like gangbusters from that point on. But I got to go back before that. I want to also thank my family. My dad was a coach of Little League sports for over 40 years. My brother Dirk, who is our oldest brother in our family, and his wife Kelly are here today. My other two brothers were not able to make it. Sucks for them because they can actually see me in pants, which really never happens. I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, I always wear shorts. My mom is here with her husband Dick. I don't know how my mom did it. We had 4 boys. We were all within about 6 years of one another, and how she was at every event and was the team mom for every single team. It still amazes me. I'll never forget, I was running my senior year, DJ will remember this, and I'm running the 400 at North Kitsap. And I'm coming around the corner, and it's the league championship meet, and as I get to the 200-meter mark, I see my mom. She's on the street, standing halfway in her car, halfway out of her car, honking and whistling. Just screaming like crazy. And every single head veers off to the right as we go to the turn, except mine. Mine was head down, concentrating on the kick. We get to the finish line, and all these guys in this, who was that crazy lady? And I'm like, thanks for the mom! I was league champ that year, so that was awesome. So. It was really kind of funny that she was just there. She got there late because of probably doing everything else that she did for our family. I also want to thank my beautiful wife, Catherine, who's here today. I had to go out and find another high school track coach, PE teacher. She agreed to get married to me at halftime of a high school football game. Everybody back in 2012, I think it was the Granite Falls football team got to watch it because they live streamed it, and then when we shared our film, they got to watch that. She was the one who encouraged me to go to the dark side and become an administrator and an athletic director down in Oregon so we could be closer to our kids and our grandkids. I also want to recognize the best coach, friend, and mentor a punk kid from the sticks could ever have. Dwayne Johnson, I still remember the day I met you. We were at a basketball celebration, and we were up at Chris' house, and somebody comes up and goes, hey, I want to introduce you to the new track coach at Port Angeles High School. His name's Dwayne Johnson. And I see him sitting there, sitting on the couch, and I go, because I knew everything as a sophomore. I mean, come on. And I had a little bit of success. And I go, what's your deal? And he goes, I'll tell you what my deal is. If you want to know track, your place is right here. If you want to experience the highs and lows track and really understand it, your place is here. Because if you want to be a lifelong track person, know the sport, live the sport, and engage in it full throttle, your place is right here. I sat down and I've never left. Been next to DJ. We run into each other all the time. The National Athletic Directors Conference. And he's just the best coach, mentor anybody could ever imagine. We have a big battle between us. We trade swag everywhere we go. He's one up until tonight. There's a blanket in that bag right there from my new school that you get to be behind now. So I'm in charge, okay? When I read my bio that was printed up, I just had to shake my head because I had just great coaches. Hall of Famer Bob Sheedy, Dwayne Johnson. In college, I got to run for Dr. Ken Foreman and Doris Heritage. I can remember Doris coming up to me and like, hey, are you gonna coach this season? And I said, well, I want to, but I don't know where. And she goes, I got a job for you. There's a place called Kings up in North Seattle. A guy named Dan Blackman. You need to go meet Dan Blackman, another Hall of Fame coach. I walked into the elementary gym at Kings Elementary, and I look at this man standing there. He's wearing a track t-shirt. So was I. Running pants. So was I. Pair of Nikes. So was I. And he looks at me and goes, what's the best race in track and field? And I go, 4x4? Why? He goes, we'll get along great. Dan and I were together ever since. 20 plus years coaching together. I remember one time, Dan had so much knowledge and had handed off to me kind of the reins of the team, and a student came up to me and like, every year, you have Coach Blackmer teach relays. What do you ever do? You not know how? And I said, well, my cup's empty, and one year he might say something different, and I don't want to miss that, because one day he might not be here when I'm here. And I've lived that for as long as I could, just in the way we do things. Dan's staff was solid. John Hubble was part of our staff, a great throws coach. Rod Wilcox was covering jumps, and kind of the odd combination. He's our jumps coach, but was also our cross country and distance coach. Jeff Gears was part of that staff. We were together, the core of us. John Hubble, Rod, Dan, and I were together for 20 plus years. A couple years into that 20 years, we added Ben Blackmer, and we had a lot of continuity. We were blessed with great athletes. It's not like we were creating anything. We were just blessed with that. We recruited. It was our goal. We always wanted, our school was about 400 kids, and we pushed and pushed to try to get our teams to 100 kids. We drug kids, we lied to kids, I'll admit it. I told kids, oh yeah, it'll be fun. You'll meet people. I still do that today. When I look back at where I started, I was blessed by coaches around me from other schools. I know I'm going to forget some people, but there was just so many great coaches in that area that shared and spoke and shared with everybody. Mike Evans from Lakewood, Jeff Sowards, Larry Christian from Bellevue Christian, Kent Hogue from Linden Christian, Bruce McDowell at Cedar Crest, Patrick Ames at Meridian, the whole staff from Seattle Academy. I can't say how much I learned from Rob Phillips and Aaron, Gavin, and Lori. Just great things. Just coaches that were willing to talk and share their ideas. I met great coaches around the state that I have friends to this day. I'll never forget Rob Henry. I'm at the state track meet. Rob, I'm going to throw you under the bus a little bit. I know you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. We're watching, it's one of those cold state track meets. I'm standing next to Rob, and he just starts going off. These private schools, oh my God, just there, and he goes and goes and goes. And after about 2 or 3 minutes, he looks and goes, where are you from? From Kings. Dude, why did you let me keep talking? Dude, I felt like you really needed to get it out, so I just let you go. The best thing that Dan Blackmer ever said to me was when he stepped aside and let me take the reins. He goes, I think you should get involved in the Coaches Association. Dan says it, I do it. I went to that convention that year. I remember sitting down with Rob Phillips and just getting stuff squared away because him and I didn't see eye to eye. I realized this was a group I wanted to be a part of, great coaches and people that were involved in the association. Chuck, Dennis, Mike, Mark Ward, Tim Irvin, Joe Clark, Don Geyser. Yeah, I still call her Geyser. She'll write a chapter about that in her book. You guys all know what that is. It's so crazy. Mentors like Tuck Janae. So I take a new job this year. I'm at Centennial High School in Gresham, Oregon as an athletic director. And I meet my secretary, Carrie Ann Walton. And we're sitting there talking, and she only knows my kind of history in Oregon. And she goes, well, I go, well, you know, what sports did you do? She goes, well, I was a soccer player, went and played college soccer, but I ran track. I know you're a track guy. And I go, oh, where'd you run track? Oh, a little small town up north of Seattle. I start kind of chuckling. I go, really, where? She goes, Snohomish. I'm like, oh, you ran for Tuck? No, I ran for Mr. Janae. And I'm like, oh, really? What was your best memories up there? And this is gonna kick it for a lot of coaches that go to the Easton Invite. She goes, I'll never forget my last year, my senior year, we're getting ready to run the 4x4 relay and the lights go out. And I bet there's a lot of coaches who were at that. We actually had to have coaches and teachers and workers pull their cars up to have lights on to finish the 4x400. She told me so many stories of even stuff that I didn't know about Tuck, but it was so great to have this connection that's completely away and how broad a reach that we actually have. So many coaches that are dedicated to the sport. I wish I could name all that I've had contact with. I feel like when I was told that I was going to go into the Hall of Fame, my speech could be as long as a track meet. No way. Okay, so I'm on the last page. I want to thank the Coaches Association for such a wonderful honor. I can't say how proud I am to stand alongside so many great coaches. I have looked up to so many of you for so long. If I can leave you with anything, I'll leave you with the words of Dan Blackburn. I really think you should get involved in the association. We need coaches to get involved in this association. We need young coaches, especially when you look at Dennis, to get involved in the association. I am officially done, so you stop time. But I do want to call Dennis up. Last year we were sitting here at this very convention. I was sitting right over there. And something that's been happening and going on in this convention for a really long time needs to get taken care of tonight. So I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for letting me share. And I'm going to let Dennis say a few words as I step back.